Hi, welcome to Mrs. Park's Algebra 1 class. This is the practice portion of 5.1, solving inequalities by addition and subtraction. Okay, so we just learned how to solve inequalities. It's just like solving equations, but we have different signs here. Okay, so let's practice some. Alright, match each inequality with its corresponding graph. Okay, first thing we're going to do here is solve this inequality for number 1. So you have negative 8 is greater or equal to 8x minus 15. Okay, so same way you would solve an equation, you want to eliminate just the x by itself. So right here you have negative 15. In order to get rid of the negative 15, you want to do the opposite and add 15 on each side. So you're going to add 15 here, and you're going to add 15 here. Okay. And by doing that, that gets canceled out. Negative 8 plus 15, you have positive 7, greater or equal to x. Okay. Same thing if you're using equations, you want to put the x in the front, just a good habit. Now, since this one says 7 is greater than the x, greater than or equal to the x, then the 7 is going to remain greater or equal to. Okay, so when you switch these two out, make sure you flip the sign as well, because right here 7 is greater than the x, then 7 should remain greater than the x when you rewrite it. Okay, so 7 is greater than or equal to x, which means it's the same thing as x is less than or equal to 7. So on here, let's find a graph. Here is 7, and it's going less. Remember that less sign looks kind of like the arrow that's pointing to the left. So we have the 7, it's shaded in because it's equal to. If it was just less than, it would be blank inside. And it's going to the left. So here is our matching graph for number 1. Okay, let's do one more. Let's do number 2 on the right portion here. Okay, so number 2, you have 4x plus 3 is less than 5x. Okay, so again, just like you would solve an equation, you want to get rid of a variable term on one side. So I would actually get rid of the 4x here by subtracting on each side. Okay, and that 4x minus 4x is gone. You have a 3 here. The sign remains the same, less than. You have 5x minus 4x, which is just the x itself. Again, I want to rewrite this so x is in the front, 3 is in the back. Right here, x is greater, so s is going to remain greater. So now you have your answer, x is greater than 3. Okay. So right here is x. Remember that greater sign, it's kind of pointing to the right. So it's going to be going to the right. So your 3 is circled. It's not shaded in because it doesn't have an or equal to sign. It's just greater. So 3, circle, and going to the right. So there's number 2 matching up with graph letter D. Okay. Alright, now let's try to do, oops. Let's try to do some here. Okay. So this time they're giving you the inequality to solve, and they want you to graph it on the number line they provided you. Okay. Alright, so now here you have for number 5, r minus negative 5 excuse me, is greater than negative 2. Okay, whenever you have a minus and negative, it's going to be a plus. So you have r actually plus 5 is greater than negative 2. And just like you would solve an equation, you're going to subtract 5 on each side. That gets rid of that. And you have r is greater than negative 2 minus 5, negative 7. Okay, So your answer is r is greater than negative 7. So you're going to circle the negative 7. Okay, you're not going to shade it in because it doesn't have an or equal to sign. Greater means going to the right. So go to the right. Okay, and that's all it is to it. All right. Okay, let's do one more problem together, a word problem. Okay. Define a variable, that means just give a letter, write an inequality, and solve each problem. Check your solution. Okay, it's the sum of a number n and 17. So let's define the sum of a number. Let's put that as n. Okay, so the sum means you're going to add. What are you adding? N, you're adding n with 17. So n plus 17, the sum of n and 17 is no less than. So it's actually greater or equal to 26. Okay, no less than. It can't be less than 26, but that means it can also be 26, as long as it's not less than 26. That's why I put that equal sign there. Alright, so you're going to subtract 17 on each side. Okay, and you have n is greater or equal to, and that's 9. Okay, so n is greater or equal to 9. Okay. And how do we check your answer? If you put your 9 here, you have 9 plus 17 is 26. So it's greater or equal to 26. So there we go. So that must be the correct answer. Okay. All right. Thanks for watching.